Welcome back to RPTV Weekly News. My name is Jabin and my co-hosts are Victoria and Kedar. We present news that impacts on Regent Park and the surrounding areas.
In this episode, we present the following news for the week of September 27th to October 6th. Regent Park streeters speak out on RCMP investigation into Doug Ford's government plan to open the Greenbelt land for development. Vulnerable adults in downtown East enjoy Thanksgiving dinner at YSM Bridges. Progress continues towards a community benefits agreement for Regent Park. Toronto Public Health celebrates 140th anniversary with a look-back presentation at City Hall. Interview with Zero Gun Violence Movement founder Louis March on gun violence trends in Toronto. Events and jobs in Regent Park community.
Regent Park streeters speak out on RCMP investigation into Ford's government plan to open the Greenbelt for land development. RPTV reporters Jabin and Victoria interviewed Regent Park streeters to know their opinions and thoughts on the recent news in relation to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police RCMP launching an investigation into Ford's government's plan to open the Greenbelt land up for development. Two recent reports by the Auditor General and Integrity Commissioner found that a lack of supervision and leadership led to certain developers with ties to the housing ministry gaining an advantage when the province decided to open up 15 sites of the Greenbelt for development. Prior to those reports, allegations were made that some developers were tipped off ahead of time and benefited financially from their relationship with the progressive conservative government. The owners of the 15 land sites chosen through this process could see more than an 8.3 billion increase to the values of their properties. Premier Ford recently reversed his decision to develop the Greenbelt, calling it a mistake and promising to bring forth legislations that would codify its boundaries. A number of ministers, as well as staff involved in the decision-making process, have also resigned. Ford is already seeing historic low approval ratings following the release of the Greenbelt reports. The Premier's office said it will fully cooperate with the investigation. Ford has not yet been approached by the RCMP for an interview. The timeline for the investigation is unclear as it depends on what is uncovered. Now let's go to the streets to hear what the streeters have to say about the Greenbelt scandal.
Hi, my name is Jabin and I'm a reporter from RPTV.
My name is Victoria and I'm also a reporter from RPTV.
Today we're here in Regent Park talking to residents about the Greenbelt scandal involving Doug Ford. Do you guys think Doug Ford should resign because of this matter?
Yeah, I believe he should, because what he's doing is just obviously just a profit grab, and that's not really what the people want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's going behind everybody's back. I feel like that's kind of scummy. Like, that's our premier, or whatever he is. I don't know, but that's crazy. Like, that's bad. Like, I don't know.
No, I don't. I agree with them. They have pretty good points.
Okay. What do you think about the RCMP investigating the Ontario government?
If they find something, I feel like just tell everybody. I feel like it's good that they're investigating, because a lot of times, like, the public doesn't know anything. So an investigation seems kind of important and seems good right now, because it's not good. Yeah.
Do you think the Greenbelt land should be rezoned?
Yeah, I believe they should do that, because Ontario currently is having a crazy housing crisis with not enough homes. Also, the prices are outrageous. So having more homes, and they're obviously not going to lower the price, but having more homes will at least be better for the people. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think Doug Ford should resign because of this matter?
I think Doug Ford should have resigned yesterday.
What do you think about the RCMP investigating this matter?
I'm glad that they finally did. I think it took a long enough time. And I think it also says a lot that the OPP had to pass it over and weren't able to investigate.
We have one more final question. Do you think the Greenbelt land should be rezoned for housing?
I don't think that it should be rezoned for housing until every opportunity for housing, and I'm talking about supportive housing and rent geared to income housing, has been used and exhausted in Toronto, because we have land that can be used, we have parking lots that can be used, we have empty buildings that can be used, and so no, the Greenbelt should not be touched until we use the resources we currently have.
Thank you so much.
So, do you know anything about this matter?
That Doug Ford's trying to take over the Greenbelt? Yes, I very much do.
So, what are your thoughts about it?
Well, considering I originally come from the Greenbelt, it's y'all sitting here complaining that wildlife's coming in to towns and stuff. Meanwhile, you're sitting here taking their homes. Like, what do you expect? Where do you expect the animals to go? So on that note, yeah, no, I think he's being an and I'm sorry if my mother sees this and hears my swearing, because I do have a bit of a trucker's mouth. But yeah, that's my opinion.
Do you think Doug Ford should resign because of this?
I think there are many reasons why Doug Ford should resign, to be honest. The way I see it, and same with Mr. Trudeau, they do not have their citizens, well-being and needs, and things have went downhill in politics, I shall say.
What do you think about the RCMP in investigating the Ontario government?
Wait, they're doing that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's nice that somebody's actually doing someone of standard and position is saying, enough's enough, don't do this. Because, you're going to have even more angry people on your hands with random animals in their yard.
Do you think the Greenbelt land should be rezoned?
Probably not, considering we need the green to survive. Not just money-wise. We need actual nature to survive. I don't know if that's news to people, but yeah, we need more than just, staring at our phones every day. We need environment. That's the word I'm looking for, a nice, clean environment.
Do you think Doug Ford should resign because of this matter?
I think that's the Premier's decision if he's to resign or not. It's a complex issue because Ontario did give him a majority government, right? Obviously, what he's done, I don't particularly agree with, but for him to step down, is that going against the people that voted for him to be the Premier for 4 years? I don't think that's an easy decision to make, right? I think, maybe there should be a poll taken, right? Because the way we feel in maybe Toronto, maybe somewhere probably in Fort Erie doesn't feel the same way, right? And he has reversed it, which I'm very happy with. So I like that he's moving towards a good direction now.
What do you think about the RCMP investigating this matter?
Well, I'm glad to see that it's being investigated, and it shows that people in Ontario that even the Premier is not unapproachable, right? So if there is any wrongdoing, just like any other citizen, things should be investigated. That doesn't mean wrongdoings will be found, but it should be investigated.
Do you think the Greenbelt land should be rezoned?
No, obviously there's a climate crisis, and this is being shown all over the world, right? So for us to rezone the Greenbelt, I don't think is a good idea. I understand that things need to be done in regards to homelessness and more affordable housing, but I think the Premier, the mayors of all Ontario, and the federal government should get together and find another way instead of jeopardizing young people's future in regards to climate change.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Well, based on what was explained to me, it's just wrong, and we have to, I guess, protect the land for what it's being used for. So I just think it's wrong.
Do you think Doug Ford should resign because of this?
I mean, honestly, like, whether he resigns or not, I'm not really in a position to say anything about that. But I think if he's a person of power, definitely should consider maybe for the voter not voting for him again, if that makes any sense. So, yeah.
So what do you think about the RCMP in investigating the Ontario government?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what's fair is fair, right? So there's one law, everyone needs to be held accountable.
Do you think the Greenbelt land should be rezoned for housing?
Only if it's helping the housing crisis for people who really need the houses. If it's being used to build big mansions and whatnot, or golf and country clubs, then no. Yeah.
Vulnerable adults in downtown East enjoy Thanksgiving dinner at YSM Bridges. YSM Bridges program supports adults towards a better life, offering essential services, holistic care, courses, and community for adults to improve emotional, physical, spiritual, and economic well-being. Among Bridges services include dinners and weekly food bank, mental health counseling, employment services, and housing services. On October 5th, YSM Bridges celebrated Thanksgiving dinner at the Davis Center Gym, 270 Gerrard Street East. Their friendly staff and volunteers served special community meals to the most vulnerable people in downtown East, where they felt welcome and safe. RPTV News was at the event to interview Bill Hall, Director of Street Involved Community Services. Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. My name is Fred for RPTV News, and today I'm here with
Bill Hall. I'm the Director of Community Support Services here out of the 270 Gerrard Street Center here called Davis Center for Yonge Street Mission.
And could you tell us about today's event, what's happening here today?
Well, YSM's been here for over 100 years, and we've been serving this community. And we put on these meals every week, actually, a few times a week. But on special events like, let's say, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, or whatever, we end up putting on a big meal for the community where people it's a larger meal. We put on, it's like this is a Thanksgiving meal. There's turkey, stuffing, all the fixings, all those types of things. So we like to put this on for the community.
That's nice. And could you please tell us why this kind of initiative is important to downtown East communities?
This community is technically, a lot of people that are, facing inflation, expenses have gone way up, rent has gone way up. And so the services we offer are just to help alleviate some of those needs, and then also obviously help people surmount barriers that are keeping them from their goals in life. So, meeting their immediate needs, things like food bank upstairs, things like that. And then, of course, as well, case management type stuff where we help people do system navigation, getting paperwork, doing applications that they need to do, filling out rental applications. Hopefully they can get into housing of some sort or whatever that piece that they're looking for is. Mission's been around, I think since 1897 or something like that, and started working out of a stable back in the day when there was horses, and obviously we've upgraded our equipment. We have vehicles, and we actually have a little bit more land that we can do more projects out of, like this gym here, but we've been working with the city, partnering with them to alleviate poverty in the city of Toronto, and obviously with all the other agencies in the downtown east, specifically Regent Park, who all have that same goal to help people in need, and we're all partnering together to hopefully help people get a leg up So that'll be our goal.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to add for Regent Park TV viewers?
YSM loves this community and committed to this community, and yeah, we'll be here as long as you're here. So come by anytime, and all the services are free. So we don't charge for anything. So just so you're aware.
Oh, I believe yesterday suddenly I'm not half the man I used to be.
Progress continues towards a community benefits agreement for Regent Park. The Community Benefits Agreement, CBA, engagement process to determine how $26.8 million in community benefits will be invested in Regent Park continues to progress. TCHC, along with the Community Benefits Oversight Working Group and Tridel, have completed their analysis of community feedback collected between April 26 and July 31, 2023. The team evaluated responses collected in over 1,700 touchpoints, including over 1,000 survey responses from TCHC tenants and market residents, to inform community benefits packages that will be released to the community this fall for a public vote. The community engagement process was launched at a community event at Daniel Spectrum on April 26, 2023. Over a 3-month period, TCHC, together with its community animators and CBOWG, went door-to-door, participated and hosted group discussions, and launched a survey as part of a comprehensive engagement process to listen to TCHC tenants and other residents, and learn how they would like to see $26.8 million used for the social and economic benefit for their community. Following a vote in the fall, the results will be officially announced and celebrated at a public declaration later this year. The selected package will be formalized in a legal agreement called a Community Benefits Agreement and signed by TCHC and Tridel. The CBA will be monitored and evaluated by CBOWG over the next decade through to the end of the revitalization.
Toronto Public Health celebrates 140th anniversary with a look back presentation at City Hall. Mayor Olivia Chow proclaimed October the 11th, 2023 as Toronto Public Health Day in honor of 140 years of public health in Toronto. The honoring ceremony took place at the October 11th council meeting with a look back at the contributions made by people working at Toronto Public Health who have implemented various programs, services and policies to improve the health and the well-being of Toronto residents and reduce health inequities over the past 140 years. The recognition began with Mayor Olivia Chow proclaiming and the look-back presentation following Toronto's Medical Officers of Health, Dr. Eileen De Villa, acknowledgement to the remarkable work of her colleagues at Toronto Public Health who make a meaningful impact of Toronto residents' well-being each and every single day.
I'm honored to be here today to recognize 140 years of public health in Toronto. Public health is at the heart of a sustainable healthcare system, a healthy economy, and healthy communities. Our dedicated colleagues at Toronto Public Health bear the tremendous honor and responsibility for the health and well-being of those who call Toronto home. From safeguarding the health of our youngest citizens to preventing chronic disease and ensuring emergency preparedness, Toronto Public Health's work keep our city safer and healthier. Our public health staff have been at the forefront of delivering vital health programs and services now for almost a century and a half. The City of Toronto appointed its first medical officer of health, Dr. Kenneth, in 1883. This came at a time when there was a dire need to standardize health protection for the city's ever-growing population. Dr. Kenneth implemented mandates to ensure clean water and air supply, adequate housing, and nutrition, health education and free medical and dental services for those with low income economic status. Imagine that. 1883. Under the leadership and vision of one of the NIC's medical officers of health, Dr. Charles Hastings, and the department quickly grew to become the largest in Canada. And it remains the largest public health unit in the country today, supporting the health and well-being of more than 3 million residents. Dr. Kenneth, Dr. Hastings, and every medical officer of health since have been instrumental in developing the programs, policies, and initiatives that Torontonians continue to benefit from and relied on every day. Now, 140 years later, I'm proud to declare today, October 11th, 2023, as Toronto Public Health Day in the city of Toronto. Let's get a round of applause, yes. Tonight, in honor of this remarkable milestone, the Toronto sign in front of City Hall and the CN Tower will be lit blue, pink, and purple. I'm deeply grateful for the ongoing and the dedicated commitment of Toronto Public Health and their community partners. Over the past few years, Toronto Public Health has demonstrated unwavering leadership in its response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This tireless dedication has not only safeguarded the health of Toronto residents, but has also had a significant impact on Canada's overall response to this unprecedented public health crisis. Toronto Public Health responded to nearly 400,000 cases of COVID-19 and administered more than 7.8 million vaccines to our residents. Thank you. This was not an easy feast. I think we should give them another round of applause, right? Yes, thank you. That team is over there. It was the largest vaccination program in the country, and it was done all while continuing to deliver critical public health programs and services to those who needed them. You have shown incredible resilience and determination, and your continued passion and commitment to the well-being of our residents is a source of inspiration and hope. Thank you. This day will continue to serve as a reminder of the extraordinary work done to keep our city vibrant and healthy. I now like to introduce a short presentation highlighting 140 years of public health in Toronto. It's now my pleasure to introduce our current Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Eileen de Villa. Please come forward to receive a copy of the proclamation, and I would like to invite Councillor Chris Moyse, the Chair of the Board of Health, to join us for this presentation. Councillor Moyse.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, Mayor Chow. This is a lovely honor that I'm receiving on behalf of the entire team at Toronto Public Health. I really am very, very delighted that we could gather here today to honor the remarkable work of my colleagues at Toronto Public Health and to mark its past, its present, and its future. You've probably heard me say this many times before, but I will say it again and again. There are simply not enough words to express the gratitude that I feel for my talented, committed, and hard-working colleagues at Toronto Public Health who make a meaningful impact on the well-being of Torontonians each and every day. Over the course of its 140 years, Toronto Public Health has undergone significant transformation in response to the evolving needs of the city and the changing landscape of public health. As our understanding of the value of legislation and public policy to address health at the population level grew, TPH has been able to expand its role beyond infectious disease control to address broader issues such as chronic disease prevention, mental health, substance use, and addressing the social determinants of health. This, I think, reflects one of the greatest strengths of Toronto Public Health, that we have continuously evolved our strategies and our initiatives to meet the emerging health concerns of the community we serve. In our pursuit of reducing health inequities and improving the health of all Torontonians, our important programs and services have expanded to include such things as health education, as you saw in the slide presentation, outreach, advocacy, and addressing not only physical and mental health, but also the social determinants of health, which play a crucial role in shaping the overall well-being of our residents. Toronto Public Health's journey over the past 140 years is a testament to its adaptability, its resilience, and unwavering dedication to the health and welfare of the people of Toronto. As you've heard, we are the largest local public health unit in Canada, and we are dedicated to serving the more than 3 million people who live, work, and play here in Toronto. I don't need to tell the members of this council, but I will mention, of course, that health is influenced by a range of factors across the lifespan and at multiple levels, including individual, household, community, city, and societal levels. Health is shaped by the economic, social, and physical environments within which one lives. Unfortunately, as we know all too well, health and the determinants of health are not distributed equally amongst all groups. Systemic, avoidable, and unjust differences between population groups can result in poorer health outcomes. And this is why one of our main goals at Toronto Public Health remains the reduction of health inequalities. No one should be disadvantaged from reaching their full health potential due to their race, their ethnicity, their religion, their gender, their socioeconomic status, or other socially determined circumstance. For 140 years, we've been preventing the spread of disease, promoting healthy environments and healthier behaviors, responding to ongoing and emerging health needs, and implementing public policy and practices to enhance the health of our city. On this very special day, and every year going forward, I do hope that we take the time to celebrate the many achievements of my colleagues at Toronto Public Health and our community partners. So to wrap up, thank you to all my colleagues at Toronto Public Health, some of whom are here in the room joining us today. And of course, to our many partners throughout the city, without whom our work and our achievements would simply not be possible. I wish you all a joyous and healthy Toronto Public Health Day. Thank you very, very much.
Interview with Zero Gun Violence Movement founder Louis March on gun violence trends in Toronto. Louis March, the founder of the Zero Gun Violence Movement, has been a volunteer, community worker, and advocate in the African-Canadian community for over 30 years. His work has primarily focused on youth engagement and mentorship initiatives, along with serving on various community organization boards and advisory committees. Most recently, the Zero Gun Violence Movement has collaborated with over 40 different community organizations, agencies, and programs across the city, committed to addressing structural and socioeconomic conditions that contribute to the gun violence problem. The Zero Gun Violence Movement is an awareness and advocacy movement that works across the city to engage people and organizations that are truly committed to being a part of the solution to reducing gun violence and also building safe and healthy communities, not for some, but for all. Statistics in 2023 show gun violence in the city has in fact decreased from the year before. Deaths and injuries due to shootings are down 20% compared to this time last year, according to crime data from Toronto Police Services. There have been 108 recorded cases of gun violence that have killed or injured this year, 20 deaths and 88 injuries. In a wide-range interview, Louis March speaks to RPTV reporter Dmitry Martinovic about recent trends and patterns in gun violence that Zero Gun Violence Movement has observed in Toronto, specifically in Regent Park. The actual perception of Toronto residents in relation to gun violence in the city, and the role of mainstream media in creating a sense of fear and despair in the city. The conditions that drive a concentration of shootings, stabbings, and other acts of violence in the downtown east side. The tangible solutions to gun violence and Zero Gun Violence Movement positive impact in our communities. Let's hear what he has to say.
My name is Louis March. I'm the founder of the Zero Gun Violence Movement. It's a collaboration, a network of over 40 different organizations, agencies, programs across the city that are invested in this whole concept of zero gun violence in our city, not only for some but for all. We already have zero gun violence in our city, but it's in certain neighborhoods and certain postal codes for certain people. For example, the people in Rosedale don't have gun violence, they're not concerned about it. But in Rexdale, you're worried about it. So Zero Gun Violence Movement is about what's going on in Rosedale that's not going on in Rexdale. What's going on in Rexdale that is not going on in Rosedale? And what are we doing to close the gap? So that's Zero Gun Violence Movement. Started initially as a 90-day summer project. Little did we know that we did not know the magnitude of this gun violence issue in our city. So on day 91, we said, do we close it down or do we continue? Because we were still learning at that stage. And 10 years later, we're still at it. The Zero Gun Violence Movement.
Sorry. What recent trends and patterns in gun violence have you observed in Toronto?
That's a good question. I just want to add one other piece to your initial question. Okay. We work with a broad network of people. What's unique about Zero Gun Violence Movement is we work with the people that are victims of the violence, the mothers who have lost to gun violence, but we also work with the people responsible for the violence, people that have done the crime, done the time, and want to make a difference. So listening to them in terms of how they got into it and why they did what they did is important information to hear from them directly or to hear it vetted from somebody else. And listening to the people that have suffered, that are traumatized, going through the agony and the grief of loss. Listen to their story. What are they going through? And when you put those pieces together, you realize that we've got to stop this madness. Because every shooting that has taken place, there were intervention points that we missed. We showed up late, and then we act surprised. But if we don't fix the pieces that need to be fixed, the violence has to happen. You can't stop it. But stop acting surprised when it happens. Because we've set it in motion from time. In terms of your question about recent trends, it's important to recognize these trends because it gives you an idea of what's really going on. Are we making progress? So, in the city of Toronto, the gun violence numbers for the last 5 quarters, 15 months, have been trending downwards. The number of shootings, the number of victims, the numbers have been coming down from the second quarter last year, 2022. We noted the trend then, and we didn't want to get too excited because we didn't know it was a trend at that time. But the third quarter, the fourth quarter last year, the trend continues downwards. And then the first quarter and the second quarter in 2023, the trend continued. In terms of actual numbers, today is the beginning of September. The numbers compared to this time last year in terms of shootings and incidents have declined 21.7%. Last year we had 277 incident shootings. This year we've had 217. Decline of 60, percentage-wise 21.7% decline. In terms of homicides, the numbers have declined 32.1% compared to this time last year. That means last year we had 28 homicides this time last year. This year we've had 19. You know, what is this telling us? This is not like a 1 month or a 2 month or a 3 month. This is over 15 months. There's something in those numbers. And we have to ask the question, what has happened? What has changed? And I want to be specific here. The decline in shootings and homicides did not happen by chance. It happened because a lot of incredible people are doing incredible work. In Regent Park, 51 Division, you look at the numbers of shootings reported. In Regent Park, 51 Division, we've had 5 shootings, reported shootings, okay, and 1 homicide. The homicides are down 50%, and the shootings are down 29% from this time last year. So if you go from community to community across the city, you see that similar decline. In Lawrence Heights, for example, in 2022 we had no reported shootings. And Lawrence Heights used to be a hot spot for us. In 2022 there were 0. Again, this didn't happen by chance. It happened because incredible people are doing work. And if you'll allow me, I can speak to some of those issues that have caused this decline.
My question is, why is there a perception if the data characterizes that gun violence is down? Why is everybody at the moment saying, "Whoa, there's so many people being shot, so many people being killed"? What is that? Where's the disconnect there? What's going on there?
That's a legitimate question, because when we present the stats and the data, we can't make this up. The data is speaking to us. The concern right now is because the media is sensationalizing certain shootings. For example, the shooting in Libertyville, with an innocent lady with 2 children going for lunch, get caught in a crossfire between two. And that news is reported over and over and over and over again. If that shooting took place in another community, you wouldn't hear about it. So the media has a role to play here in creating that level of fear and despair across the city. What I'm saying here is the safe zones have been breached. Normally, like if the violence is taking place in certain communities, it's a non-event. But when that violence spills over into other communities that are not used to it, and that gets sensationalized by 24/7 hour reporting, it feeds into the level of fear and despair across the city. And the police and the politicians have done a terrible job of speaking to this. I don't know, maybe they benefit from that level of fear and despair that is created. But they've got to be honest. There has to be integrity in their operation, and it's lacking. A lot of people are doing incredible work, and I want to give them credit. So the level of fear and despair that is causing angst in our community, in our city, is a result of the media's presentation and narrative about gun violence, with the exclusion of a counter-narrative that might be more realistic and based on fact. So that's why the level of fear and despair is out there. It's a media creation, and it has not been refuted by the people that we entrust to tell us what's going on.
What are some of the conditions that drive concentrations of shootings, stabbings, and beatings and other acts of violence in the downtown east side?
When you're speaking about the contributing factors, what's causing this, we all know what it is. Wherever there is lack of opportunity, lack of education, lack of employment, drugs dealing, racism, discrimination, wherever we see those pockets of characters together, there has to be a response. You're not going to walk around with a big smile on your face, right? Being happy and excited when you know you can't put food on your table. And that creates the environment where violence becomes an option. Some people can deal with it, but not everybody will. So if we looked at data again, the higher you move in the education field, the less likely you're to involve in violence. You have good housing, good employment and stuff, the less likely you're going to be in violent activity. So we know the conditions, we know the ingredients, we know the pieces of the puzzle. But what are we doing? In certain parts of our city, when the sun sets, everybody has a smile on their face. They come out of their houses, they go shopping. They take their dogs for a walk, right? And they go hang out in the park, right? The children go to the playground. But in another part of the city, when the sun sets, it's the total opposite. People run for cover. They go home. There's nothing going on in their community that brings them out. Or there's stuff going on in their community that creates fear for them to be out. One mother we knew, she had 3 children. She said she's afraid for them to even take the garbage out at night. So this is what's going through her head. A young girl in another community says, I know which part of the community to walk and which part not to walk. These are children telling me this. In another part of the city, you don't worry about those things. So we know the ingredients. We know that poverty, mental health, poor housing, poor job opportunities, poor educational achievement levels are the prime ingredients that create that opportunity, that environment where violence then take place. And what we're seeing is the level of violence is now being increased, and a lot of that is fueled by social media. A lot of it is fueled by not only social media, but by access to guns coming across the border. We know that 90% of the guns found at crime scenes are illegal guns smuggled across the border. 90%, 9 out of 10. But our government officials are focusing on the legal gun holders. I'm saying, no, you focus on the problem. And then that again is who's telling the story and who's being factual. So all those things conspire. They come together and create that explosive, those explosive ingredients that feed into the violence. So we know what it is, but what are we doing to fix it?
Why does the solution to gun violence escape us when there are so many agents and agencies working on it, programs?
All those stakeholders seldom work together. They work in silos. They compete against each other. They don't share information. One person will have data on this, one person will have data on that. Right? But they don't share the information. They don't come to the table. Or when they do come to the table, it's not any meaningful discussion or sharing of information. The way I look at it is, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. All these pieces that you've referred to are legitimate pieces in the solution. But if they're all scattered, how do you find a solution? And that's why it seems so difficult, because their culture does not allow them to work together. We have something, we call it the funding Olympics. It's a concept where a funder is coming out with money and they know who's going to get the gold, the silver, and the bronze. And then the leftover money is put out there and everybody has to compete for it. So when you compete for it, you have to outdo the other one. You're not going to give them any information that's going to help them jump the line and get your funding, right? So the way the system is set up, it feeds into this divisiveness, this working in isolation, this working in silos. So the solution is not as difficult as people make it out to be, because we have the resources and means. Toronto is an incredible city. When we put our mind to something, we solve it. We're an internationally acclaimed. We're a world-class city. When they do surveys, if we're not in the top 10, we're surprised on the international level. So when it comes to gun violence, why have we fallen behind? Why am I getting phone calls from France? Why am I getting phone calls from Mexico, from America? What's going on in Toronto? We never saw this coming out of Toronto. So we have the resources and means, but have we had the leadership, the courage, and the determination to force them, not ask them to work together, force them to work together? Because that's where the solution lies. The solution does not lie in all these stakeholders working in silos. And we've done a good job of that historically. Now we need to break that pattern.
One thing that is so often talked about is community engagement. How important is that really in terms of tackling gun violence?
Let's understand this. The first word in community safety is community. It's not police and it's not politicians. The first word in community safety is community. You invest in communities, you put them in the lead, and safety is a must. If you are relying on the police always show up after. The police are chasing bullets. They can never catch them. As for the politicians, their motivations is political. They will speak to you in a political language that confuses you and deceives you. And maybe that's deliberate. By the time they get involved, it's also too late. Because whatever they put in terms of money and investment in community is politically motivated. So this is not rocket science. we need to invest in community. When I talk about the difference between Rosedale and Rexdale, and I can put Regent Park in there. Regent Park has to be in there because there's been a massive investment. Like, as we're speaking now, we're hearing music in the back because there's a community event that's going to bring the community out. This is in Regent Park. But if I go to another part of the city, this doesn't exist. Right? You have something here on Friday. You have something here on like every day there's something going on here. And this is about community engagement. But community engagement works best when you invest in that. Right? So this is where the politicians can come. The police should be an afterthought. They should be an afterthought. But when you go to them first, we know that we've got a problem from the solution of the problem. So I go back and I underline 100 times. The first word in community safety is community. Let's invest in community. Let's find out what's missing, where the gaps are. Where can we improve? And the interesting thing is, what the community needs is not on the massive scale that people normally think. It's about investing in the people, investing in the families, investing in the schools, right? Investing in economic activity. You do that, and the benefits, the rewards are tremendous. If the first people we're going to call is politicians or police who have missed it totally, they should be an afterthought. Let's invest in the community so they can all shine, so they can all become alive when the sun sets. This is what Regent Park is about. If I came here 10 years ago, there's no way this would be here. There's no way, right? So somebody had that vision 10, 15, 20 years ago to say, let's do some long-term investment in creating a community that people feel happy living in, right? People feel happy going out and feeling safe. It didn't happen overnight. This was not a magic solution, right? Our mayor used to talk about the silver bullet. We're not looking for a silver bullet, right? We're looking for that long-term investment. And here's a classical example. People should be coming here to see what we're doing in Regent Park, right? And look at Mothers of Peace. Look at the community organization. Look at Daniel Spectrum. I've been here 3 times in the last week and a half for community events, right? This is incredible. There's no way that would have happened years ago, you know? And we've seen the results. The fact that Regent Park, the gun violence numbers have declined, is contributing to the safety of the whole city, right? So this is not like a one-off. This is happening because people have invested and the community has responded. And I'm confident that people feel safer walking around in Regent Park today than they did yesterday, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So we are making progress, and we see the results. But now it's up to us now to ensure that there's no expiry date on this progress, that it continues, and that we don't take it for granted by cutting back on what we're doing.
What are the measures in place to support victims and their families affected by gun violence, and how are some of these programs working with actually the perpetrators of the violence?
It's a difficult combination, because people that have lost don't want to be sitting down with people that have been responsible for it. So it's a delicate relationship, but it adds value to the solution. What I'm saying here is in Regent Park, you have a group, Mothers of Peace, which is run by Surya and community members. And they are doing an incredible job healing those that have been hurt, that have lost. They have discussions, they lean on each other, and they get that strength for trauma, for healing, for moving forward. That's one piece. The people that are responsible, that have done the crime, done the time, that want to make a difference, we've got to create space for them too. We can't erase them. We can't exclude them. Because sometimes they will tell you, how did they get into this situation? Where were the possibilities? What type of options were available to them? And in knowing that, it can help us prevent it from happening, focusing on these things. When you bring them to the same table, you have to be mindful and respectful for those people that are still hurt from their tragic loss. But when those people are genuine in terms of the ones that have been responsible and want to make a difference, sometimes having them at that same table is part of the healing process. When they can actually speak and hear, not through the media, not through the politicians, not through the police, what really got them there. And when you see them working together, we have an event coming up on September the 23rd, which is a march for peace, Mothers March on Yonge Street. And we have mothers walking, but we also have people that have been involved walking with us. And when you see them walking shoulder to shoulder, it gives you hope. It gives you hope.
Quickly, is there anything else that you think you haven't spoken about or that I've asked you that you think should be factored into the sum of your interview here?
I think we need to do a better job of talking about the success to counter the negative narratives out there. If there's something bad that happens in Regent Park tonight, rest assured it's going to be on the front page of the paper tomorrow. But if something good happens in Regent Park tonight, you'll never hear about it. So we need to do a better job of highlighting the progress that is being made in certain communities, yes, so that it provides guidance and direction for other communities. Wow, if this is working in Regent Park, why can't we implement it here in another part of the city? What is it that we need, right? And we cannot allow the media to make those decisions as to what's important, what should be on the front page or not. And if they're not going to put it on the front page, then we find other ways to get the stories out. Because I'd hate to think that people have invested so much in positive change that we don't recognize their effort, because I want to make sure they continue, but I also want to use their success as inspiration to others to try something different and not just accept the status quo. This is the way it has to be. I think that's one thing that will bring everything together better. And it's one thing that Zero Gun Violence movement should also do a better job of recognizing and celebrating success, because it provides hope for those people that are still living in fear and despair based on the sensationalization of certain specifics about gun violence at the exclusion of others.
And now for events in the community. October Fun Fest on Saturday, October 28th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Bake Oven in the Big Park. There will be BBQ, halal, pumpkin patch, pumpkin carving, candy, face painting, apple crisp, DJ, and dancing. Hope to see you there. Trustee Deborah Williams is hosting a ward forum on school community safety, supporting student achievements, well-being, and mental health. On Thursday, October 19, 2023, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Nelson Mandela Park Public School, 440 Shooter Street. Everyone is welcome. Refreshments and child minding will be provided. Our Fair Share Farmers Market. Our Fair Share is on a mission to make food accessible for everyone. Join the Pay What Choose market to get a surprise assortment of produce and you choose your prize. The market will open Thursday, October 26th and November 9th and 23rd from 3 to 7 p.m. at 190 Carlton Street, Toronto. Regent Park Tech Landing Library is providing Regent Park residents access to laptops, tablets, and fast internet. Open 7 days a week from 1 to 7 p.m. at Daniel Spectrum, 585 Dundas Street East. Please bring ID and proof of address. For more information, contact rpna.techlibrary@gmail.com. TCHC and Tridal calling all small businesses owners in Regent Park. Are you a Regent Park resident with a small business? Do you offer catering, photography, create handmade goods, or other goods and services? Join their small business directory and get connected to business opportunities in the community. If you have questions, email csr@tridal.com.
And that's all for today's show, folks. My name is Kedar Ahmed and my co-hosts are Victoria and Jabin. And we would also like to thank our team of researchers that contributed to this week's show. And from our studios at Focus Media Arts Center, thanks for watching and we'll see you all next week. Love.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.